So today is October 24th, 2015, and I thought that today I would share my story about what happened this day, last year. And I feel like anyone who has experienced something like this, or even if you weren't there when it happened, like if someone in Nebraska heard this story and it changed them in some way, I mean, that's just like an amazing thing. And I think you should be able to share your story. And me, myself, like I feel kind of selfish sharing how I felt and how awful I felt, even though I wasn't there. But I think that it's important for anyone to feel like they can share what they need to if it somehow affected them. And so, if you don't know what I'm talking about, on this day last year, there was a school shooting in the cafeteria of Marysville-Pilchuck High School, which is in Washington, if you didn't know. And so I guess it starts out as me. I went to Marysville School District, or I was in Marysville School District until second grade, and my dance studio was located there until I was around 12, and then I switched studios. But I had a lot of people there who were my friends or who I considered family, people who I was very close with. And so on October 24th, it was a Friday, and we had shortened class periods. And I remember I was in health, and my health teacher was very like vibrant and like very happy all the time and energetic, and she was super sweet. And I remember the shooting started at 10:39 and it ended at like 10:42, I think. I don't know like exactly what the time frame was because everyone said it happened fairly quickly. And so 3 minutes seems like a long time. But I remember getting a call. My health teacher got a call at around like 10:40 to 10:50, that area. So I remember it being very like soon after her getting a call. And I don't remember like what they were talking about on the phone. I wasn't listening. But she went up to the front of the class and she's like, I can't tell you anything right now. You guys probably don't understand why I'm saying this, but you will soon enough, and it's going to be awful, and you need to brace yourselves for it. And everyone was so confused. And they're like, what is she talking about? Like I don't get what's happening right now. And I remember thinking like all these possibilities running through my mind. And then I went to fifth and sixth period, and I had the same teacher for that class, and everyone in that class was like a huge family, and we all just like loved that class, and we loved that teacher. Shout out to anyone who was in Lambert's class. Yo. And I remember being in class, and at the end of class, my teacher, I don't know if she was supposed to tell us this, because I knew a whole bunch of kids at my school didn't know when we went out to the buses, and she said, I don't really know how to explain this, but there was a shooting at Pilchuck, and the first thing that went through my mind was like, who was the shooter? I was confused, and I mean, it was so weird because at first I felt like I had like misheard what she had said, and it was confusing because I was like, this happens other places, but I mean, this can't happen where I live, right? And I mean, it's a horrible thing to say. Like, you can go shoot people in other schools, but you can't do it around where I live. And that's absolutely not what I meant. But I felt super confused because I had seen it on TV and I had heard news stories about it. But it just never felt like a possibility to happen in somewhere where I was a part of the community. And I was so confused. And I remember calling one of my best friends from when I was younger, Ashley, and she didn't pick up, and neither did her mom, and I knew it was a big assumption to think that she was somehow hurt or involved, but I mean, when she didn't pick up, I kind of like panicked and freaked out internally, and I just remember like a lot of kids didn't know about it when we got on the bus, and I was just like crying on the bus. I was so confused. There's no other way to explain it, that I was just like, I was terrified and I was also confused. And I remember being scared to go to school because it freaked me out that there was a possibility now that someone near me could do that and could hurt someone. And I knew two of the people. Well, I mean, I knew of all of the kids. and I knew people who were friends with them, but I knew Gia. I met her a few times, and we had a mutual friend. And I knew Jalen, and I didn't know him personally. I never talked to him, but he was the shooter. And my dad, one of the kids that he shot was his cousin, and my dad was friends with the shooter's cousin's dad, if that makes sense. So the shooter's uncle. And I think they coached football together. There was something about football in there because my dad coached and my brother played in Marysville. And I don't know if he reached out to him. I assume he did. But, I mean, there were all these connections with, like, people I knew who knew the people and people that I knew who were involved. And I remember, like, texting all of my friends who were involved and, like, telling them how I was thinking of them and that, like, you know, it was just a horrible thing. And I mean, I began like forming friendships with these people again, and I know it wasn't the perfect circumstances, but I'm glad that something positive did come out of it. And it was kind of like, it was really shocking to see like all these pictures that were being released and seeing like people crying and like teachers. And I remember thinking like, I know these people. This happened to people around me. And I mean, I was mad because I was like, how can someone hurt all of these people that I know or people that I love and then just get away with it? And I remember being like so angry, and it was just a very, very confusing time. And I don't know, it was super weird. And I was just so confused for a long time. And I mean, I still am, because I don't understand how someone could do that. And, you know, I still think about the people who were involved every single day and their families. And I don't know, it was just such an insane experience, especially for someone who wasn't there and who wasn't at the school at all, or who doesn't attend the school. But, I mean, yeah, it was very, very confusing time. And, yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. But, I think that I'm still trying to figure out what exactly happened. And I've read like 800 pages of the accident report so far, just because I feel like I need to justify it and understand why someone would do that and why they would hurt some people. People that he loved. I mean, they were all his friends. He texted them and said, "Meet me in the cafeteria," and then he killed them. I mean, I just can't wrap my brain around that, and it doesn't make sense to me. And I don't think it ever will, because I don't think I have the same mentality as he did. But, yeah. But for anyone involved or anyone who was ever affected by it, I mean, I hope that they can share what they felt, no matter how close they were. Because, I mean, it's not something that you ever want to forget. I mean, it's difficult because you're stuck in a place of wanting to forget what happened and these gruesome images and trying to remember the people. And I think that it's important for anyone to remember the people and to understand that you can't just like let them go. You need to keep their memory alive, I guess. So, yeah. Now that that's over with, I think we're gonna leave soon. But if you're still watching this, thank you. And remember to think of those families, because I think that they definitely need it, especially today. And have a good weekend.